You scroll through Instagram and see your college roommate posting from a rooftop bar in Miami. Your coworker just bought a brand new Tesla. Meanwhile, you're eating leftover pasta and wondering if you're the only person who actually checks their bank account before buying groceries. How is the average person seemingly affording a lifestyle that traditionally belonged only to the ultra-rich? The truth is, most of what you're seeing isn't real. That luxury is built on a very fragile, hidden foundation. You're weighing your own private financial stress against someone else's curated highlight reel. But when you look at the actual numbers, the math behind their lifestyle simply doesn't work. Let's reverse engineer the exact monthly cost of the modern suburban facade using real economic data. Based on 2025 numbers from the Census Bureau and mortgage industry reports, the median home price in the United States is hovering around $400,000. We'll use the median full-time income about $60,000 a year. That gives us a starting point of $5,000 per month before taxes. Factor in a standard 3 to 5% down payment at current 7% interest rates. Add property taxes and insurance, and you're looking at a monthly housing payment of $3,000. That is 60% of gross pay, totally blowing past the recommended 30% limit. Now put a financed SUV in the driveway. Between the average $730 to $1,000 car payment, plus insurance, gas, and maintenance, owning that vehicle costs a minimum of $1,300 a month. Between the house and the car, we are at $4,300. That is 85% of the gross income gone before we even factor in taxes, utilities, or a single trip to the grocery store. Without an outside lifeline, the people living this lifestyle are not wealthy. They are operating in a state of permanent financial emergency, with every dollar spoken for before it hits their checking account. So if the math guarantees they run out of money, how do they keep the lights on and the cars in the driveway? About half of parents with adult children provide them with regular financial assistance. We're talking an average of nearly $1,500 per month for rent, car payments, and phone bills. Then consider that roughly 1/3 of adults aged 18 to 34 are living with their parents. By eliminating rent and utilities entirely, they free up thousands of dollars in cash flow to spend on weekend trips and designer clothes. Finally, factor in the debt. The average American carries about $6,000 in credit card balances, while stretching car loans out to 84 months on depreciating assets. What you're experiencing online is selection bias. People gladly post the new car or the beach vacation. They do not post the Venmo transfer from their parents or the credit card statement carrying a 22% interest rate. That seemingly self-made success is propped up by an invisible ledger of liabilities and family money. To see what American wealth actually looks like, we must pull data from the Federal Reserve. This chart reveals for Americans under 35, median net worth is roughly $39,000. Even for homeowners in their peak earning years, most wealth is trapped in home equity. Their actual, accessible cash is a tiny fraction of that number. IRS tax records show only about 9% of households earn over $200,000 a year. The ultra-wealthy individuals you see online are profound statistical outliers. The impression that everyone around you is crushing it is a statistical mirage. Most of the country is quietly scraping by while trying to project total stability. The first step to fixing your finances is to stop playing a game where you don't know anyone else's score. You have to focus entirely on your own internal balance sheet. Real financial progress isn't flashy. It means avoiding high-interest debt, spending less than you earn, and investing consistently, even if it feels unglamorous. True wealth rarely looks like luxury SUVs or massive houses. It looks like the complete absence of daily financial anxiety. It's having the freedom to walk away from a bad job thanks to an emergency fund. Opting out of the lifestyle arms race requires being okay with looking less successful than you could appear to be. But the trade-off is waking up with genuine peace of mind. Let go of the mirage. Measure your progress only against where you were a year ago. Because decades from now, those invisible, boring wins will compound into actual freedom, long after the expensive facades have fallen apart. You scroll through Instagram and see your college roommate posting from a rooftop bar in Miami. Your coworker just bought a brand new Tesla. Your neighbor is renovating their kitchen. Meanwhile, you're eating leftover pasta, checking your bank account before groceries, and quietly sweating the electric bill. You have to wonder, with housing costs through the roof and inflation eating into everyone's paychecks, how is an entire generation seemingly affording a life of constant luxury? The answer is going to make you question everything you see online. The vast majority of the visible wealth around you is a carefully constructed facade, funded almost entirely by leverage. When we strip away the filters and perform a forensic accounting of the modern American lifestyle, the numbers tell a different story. The people projecting extreme success are, statistically speaking, losing the game. To understand the reality, we look at the official data. According to the United States Census Bureau, the median home price in America is hovering right around $400,000. Now, look at this diagram tracking the median full-time American worker. We start with a baseline salary of roughly $60,000 a year. Before taxes, that gives us a monthly gross income of $5,000. But let's see what happens to that income when we buy that median home. Applying current interest rates, property taxes, and fees places the true monthly carrying cost for housing around $3,000, instantly wiping out 60% of gross pay. Next, we add the standard American luxury flex, a finance SUV. Factoring in a 72-month loan, insurance, and gas, this transportation block drains another $1,300. Looking at the final ledger balance, after spending $4,300 on housing and transportation, our median earner is left with a dangerously thin $700 sliver to cover food, utilities, and healthcare. The math simply does not work. High earners are scaling up their expenses to match every extra dollar they make, leaving their bank accounts entirely empty by the end of the month. This demographic survives as the house poor, funding a lifestyle that exceeds their income by 40%. Roughly 50% of parents provide their adult children with direct, undocumented financial assistance, averaging $1,500 a month to cover luxury car payments, monthly auto insurance premiums, and expensive phone bills. Add in that 45% of Americans are working unreported side hustles, quietly funneling an extra couple $1,000s a month strictly into luxury items. And we interpret this through a massive visual distortion. Look at this visual showing what we call timeline compression. People save for 2 years for a single trip and space out small renovations over 6 months. But on a feed, those sparse events violently collapse into a dense vertical scroll, making it appear as though the luxury is constant and simultaneous. For most of human history, the comparison group used to evaluate our success was limited to a dozen neighbors or a small village. Now, we use those same biological evaluation tools against a global feed of the top 1%, creating a constant artificial sense of falling behind. If your social circle, online or offline, routinely leases luxury cars and takes international trips, your biological baseline of what is normal slowly creeps higher. You end up measuring your entire stressful financial reality, complete with trade-offs and savings goals, against a mathematically impossible, highly edited facade. To break the illusion completely, we have to look at the actual macroeconomic reality of wealth in the United States, utilizing household data from the Federal Reserve. This bar chart maps out the true scale of savings. For Americans under 35, the median net worth sits at a starkly low $39,000. That includes checking, savings, and retirement. Almost no one has substantial cash. Even when we look at older demographics entering their peak earning years, the picture doesn't drastically improve. As this chart shows, the total net worth rises to $135,000, but 80% of it is locked home equity, money they cannot spend without selling their house. Financial success looks completely different than the internet leads you to believe. It is achieved through quiet, unglamorous milestones, like aggressively avoiding high-interest debt and steady, boring investing. The visible markers of wealth you see in the driveway or on a beach are evidence of money leaving an account, not evidence of money building within it. Actual wealth manifests as the absence of financial anxiety, the power to walk away from a toxic job because of liquid cash reserves, and the quiet peace of having options. You have to stop competing with a mirage. Real financial security is quiet. It is invisible. And in a culture obsessed with performing wealth, a calm bank account is the only metric that actually matters.